Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. This is AlphaStrong Network, and I want to welcome you to the Faith Tech Finance Show. My name is Angel Bundes, the financial physician, and people also call me Coach Angel. Today, I want to talk about a topic that's kind of been on my mind. I've been seeing a lot about this all over social media and stuff, and it's something that we really need to talk about. Before I jump into the topic for today, I just want to remind you guys to, if you want more content, if you guys want to be surrounded and fill your minds with good quality content, positive stuff, optimistic stuff, Christian-based content, then I want you to smash that like button, share this video with somebody that you know, maybe a man that needs to hear, or possibly a woman as well, and definitely subscribe to this channel because we're going to bring you guys much more stuff in the near future and over the long term. And also smash on that bell so you get notified whenever I put out new stuff. Since we don't have a consistent schedule right now, we definitely want you to be aware whenever we put out new stuff. So smash on that bell right now so that you can get notified whenever we put out new stuff. You can follow us on all the other social media channels as well, on Instagram, on TikTok and other things. So you can find me Angel Abundance 257, Angel Abundance 257, or AlphaStrong Life on some of the other socials. So just wanted to touch base on that and kind of share with you guys, obviously, that we are out there, we're putting out new stuff, and we want you guys to be aware of what we're doing. So we want you guys to support us, right? Without you guys, we can't, reach more people. We want these messages to be going out. And if you, are like me, you want to make an impact. And one of the ways you can help impact this channel the most is by smashing that like button. And you know what? If you hear something that you agree with, put it in the comments. Say, hey, I like what you said here. Or if something you don't agree with, I want to hear from you too. I want some feedback. This should be healthy discourse. We should be able to talk about things. And if you're just trolling and you just want to get a rise out of me, good luck. I usually don't respond to negative stuff. But if you want to have a serious discussion and you don't agree with some of the stuff I'm talking about, hey, no problem. Let's put a comment down below and I will get back to you. I read all the comments, and we're constantly trying to improve. And more so than anything, you and I may not agree on everything that I talk about. You may not share my same views, but we can still have respect for each other and, have a healthy discourse and just get a different opinion, a different perspective about how things are. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about in today's show. So again, this is the Faith Tech Finance Show, where we bring you everything related to faith, finance, and technology. And, it's really just a platform for me to just share my opinions, my perspectives. And that's really all they are. They're just my opinions, my perspectives, my beliefs. And you may or may not agree with them, and that's okay. I still love you. And if you do agree with them, then great. You know what? We want you to continue to get more things like this. And we want you to be able to stand up and stand firm and talk about some of those things that you may or may not agree with. So with that said, welcome to the channel. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So today's topic, I wanted to talk about something that I am, very, very passionate about. As a Christian man, as an entrepreneur, I am, always battling different, let's call it extremism out there, left-wing extremism, and all that stuff. And right now it feels like, we're being attacked every which way. If you are a man, you are being attacked. Okay. And this is a real problem. Right now, men are being made to be villains. It's just ridiculous. The wokeism and the crazy liberal ridiculousness that we're seeing, the emasculation of men is very prevalent. It's out there. It's happening. And we need to be talking about this. We need to be standing up, and we need to be understanding how us as men, how we should behave, and not be afraid. Not be afraid to talk about, how we really feel about these particular topics, and to stand up to this crazy feminist extremism that's going on out there, because that's really what it is. And I think modern feminism is very toxic, and it's detrimental to our society. We need strong men. And just because I'm a strong man doesn't make you a weak woman. Okay, you don't need, it's not just a position, right? You can be a strong woman, I can be a strong man. In fact, that's how it should be, together as one, working together to make our society better, to make our family stronger, to raise our kids the best way possible. But that's not what's going on. If you are a strong man, automatically you're anti-woman. And that's not the case. That is not the case at all. Most men, believe in having a good, strong partner, a woman partner in life that can help us raise our family, raise our kids, to tackle, the challenges of life and to be successful together. Let's face it, men do need strong women backing them up, challenging them on certain things, and you as a woman, you should be, you should feel free that you can talk to your partner in that way and that you can share your opinions or whatever. Now, you need to give him the freedom to make decisions, right? For what's best for you guys and your family. Together, you guys should be making decisions, but ultimately you should allow him that opportunity, right? To grow. He may not be at that level of maturity that you're at, and you need to help him get there without berating him, without criticizing him, without really chopping his, legs off and not letting him have that position of, the male authority in your home. Now, again, those are things that I believe. That's what the Bible teaches. That's what I go off of. But I really do believe that the breakdown of men has demolished, this country. I really do believe that. And we see that left and right, because right now, if you're a man, you're the bully. You're the one that's wrong. You're the one that has tried to keep everyone down. And if you're a white male, forget it. I mean, you're the great Satan, basically, right? I'm Hispanic, and I can identify with some of that. I definitely still feel it. But man, if if your skin is pale and you're a male, you are the problem in society, according to these people. But I want you to know you're not. You are the solution. You are the solution. We need to rise up together as men, stand firm together. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, get ready, buckle on in, get some popcorn, because, I'm going to be dropping some stuff. And I want to tell you guys right now, I don't typically cuss, but there may be some words that come out. I'm going to try my best to not, because I get so passionate about this kind of stuff. And, I don't typically try to use that type of language when I'm really trying to get my point across. But sometimes, it's hard to find other big words to use. And sometimes those type of words just come out. So I apologize in advance, right? I'm not apologizing for what I'm talking about, but just the fact that I cannot adequately communicate without dropping a few F-bombs or something. So if I do say some words that you don't agree with, I apologize in advance, right? That's the only thing I'm going to apologize for. So I wanted to talk about this. So I think men, number one, should be men, okay? Men should be men and boys should be boys. We should be allowed to have those type of beliefs, to have the distinction of being a man, all right, of being a boy, and to be different than women. Because guess what? We are different. We're genetically different. We are not wired the same. Our brains don't work the same. Our emotions don't work the same. I think in a lot of cases, they say, women are emotional. I think men can be much more emotional. And I think our emotion can show much more. When you talk about like rage, right? Sometimes the men can just comes out on us, or that testosterone or whatever it is. So I think we can definitely show emotion. But I think as I go through this, I put a couple of points together. I think you'll understand what I'm talking about. We should be men of self-control and stoic and whatnot. But let's jump on in. So I think number one, the AlphaStrong network, the AlphaStrong Life organization, we are dedicated to empowering the next generation of Christian leaders to impact and influence this world for Jesus Christ, right? And that's not just men, right? This is women too. You should be able to go out there and be a leader in your community, in our society, and be strong and courageous, and be a flag carrier, right? Be a standard bearer for the Lord, and to help impact and influence this world for Jesus, to help make a difference in people's lives, to help them see something more than what's right in front of them, right? To be thinking about the future, think about heaven, and really thinking about how we can bring more people unto the saving knowledge of our Savior Jesus Christ. So that's what AlphaStrong is all about. But one of those things that we want to teach is this concept of male dominance, right? Male authority. God has placed males, in positions of authority. Now, that's not to say that we should be lording over women, that we should be, domineering towards women, that we should, or others, right? But I do believe that God has put a unique mantle of authority over the men, and we should be strong leaders. We should be strong leaders in our homes. right? In our marriages, as parents, in our job places, our places of work, in our churches, in our communities, right? And in positions of authority and leadership, in school boards, in city councils, in state assemblies, in Congress, and even in leadership to the highest levels, like the President of the United States. Now, does that mean that a woman shouldn't be President of the United States? No, absolutely not, right? I think we could definitely use a woman, a strong woman, in that position of authority. I think I will see that in my lifetime, but it should be because she's the most qualified person, not just because of what's in between her legs. Okay, not just because she has female genitalia, does she automatically, we got to cheer for the woman and we got to vote for her. It's like, that's stupid, right? This whole thing of, diversification and affirmative action, that, just because someone is more qualified, but no, we got to fill our race quota, we got to fill our diversity quota, so let's give it to the less qualified person of color. That makes no sense, right? It doesn't make sense to me. We should be picking the most qualified person, the person that's most likely to succeed, the most likely to make the biggest impact. And, that's what we should be voting on. That's what we should be putting people in authority. So I don't mind talking about politics, but that's definitely something that I believe as our nation. I think we can have a strong woman as a leader, and we should be trying to raise our daughters to be that, to be strong women, and to not be afraid to speak up or to just be dominated by a man or whatever, to understand their worth, understand their value. And you as a father, if you're a man, you should be teaching your daughters these things. And you should be being the example for them of what a strong man should be and how he should treat women with respect and all that stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we jump in. So Alpha Strong is dedicated to teaching these types of principles. And so, one of the subgroups or subcategories is we want to have this idea, this group of an alpha strong man, an alpha strong woman. And so what is an alpha strong man? And I haven't fully developed this yet. These are concepts and ideas that I have been mulling over. But these are some of the principles that I think we're going to be teaching, and I think we'll expand on this. We might, clear some stuff up and really get very dialed in as to what we want to teach for men, and make sure it's all biblically based and everything else. But I think an alpha strong man, what does that mean to me? I think number one, it should be a man that's brave and courageous. It should be someone who's willing to stand in the gap, who stand up for what they believe in, to stand up for the gospel, stand up for other people. You should be able to speak up and not be afraid to speak up, not be afraid to take bold action and take a stance and say, you know what, we're not going to be for those things. We're not going to allow you to be indoctrinating our children with your crazy, LGBTQ and every other alphabet soup thing that you want to throw out there. We're not going to allow that. It should not be something that you need to be teaching my kids and pushing your agenda on me, on my children. If we can't teach the Bible and I can't talk about Jesus or God, then you shouldn't be allowed to talk about your crazy, ridiculous 100,000,001 genders and all this other ridiculous stuff. Like, it just no, we're not going to allow that. And you as a man, you should be willing to stand up and take that fight on and go to the school board and go to the city council meeting and say, you know what, we're not going to allow that. And start voting for people that are not going to be pushing this, not going to allow those types of laws to be passed, right? That's what I'm talking about, is someone who's brave and courageous, a man who's willing to stand up and say, no, that's wrong. We're going to speak up for what's right. So that's one of the main things. An alpha strong man should be brave and courageous and not back down when the need arises. We should be willing to take up the fight and speak up and not be afraid of the cancel culture and all this other crazy left wokeism. I think now is the time to be speak. We should have been doing this, years ago, but now more than ever, we definitely meant to stand up and speak the truth. Speak the truth. And another thing, an alpha strong man should be purpose driven. Okay. You should be intentional with your life. You should know what you're trying to accomplish. You should have a greater sense of purpose, a greater sense of that's what it is, a purpose, right? Something that you need to be living for, something that is worthy of your efforts, something that is greater than yourself, right? And I think there's nothing greater than ourselves than Jesus. I think we should be speaking up for that. But I think other things too, right? We should be, maybe you have some business venture or something that can change the world. That's what I believe with Alpha Strong. I think that's something that the world needs, that it is that it is going to change the world. It's going to change people's hearts and minds from the inside out, and that is going to result in changing the world and impacting and influencing this world for Jesus Christ. So that's my purpose. That's my mission in life. So I think you need to have something to live for. If you don't have something to live for, man, life is boring. Life is dull. Life is meaningless. You should have something that you can stake your claim on and march forward with conviction and not be afraid to take on challenges so you can help accomplish or push that agenda forward, assuming that it is something righteous and worth living for. You really should be mission-minded. That's really what it comes down to. You should be mission-minded, whatever that mission is. Right now, as a believer, obviously we have the ultimate mission of spreading the gospel and things like that. But I think we can take that a step further. Right, we can have something to really. And if you're called to ministry and everything else, obviously that's definitely needed. But I'm talking about like from a business venture or something like that. I think we should be mission-minded with those types of things. We should be very intentional with how we live our lives. We should not be aimless and apathetic. We should be very, very purposeful in what we're trying to do. And I think another characteristic from an AlphaStrong Man, I think, is that we should be, while we're brave and courageous and we're purpose-driven and everything else, we should also be kind and empathetic. We should be kind and caring with how we treat others. We should be chivalrous. We should, be the gentleman that, this society needs, where we can be strong and tough and everything else, but at the same time, gentle in how we talk to people and how we talk to our kids, how we treat our women. We should be that way. We should not be afraid to be a gentleman. And I'm not talking about being gentle and weak, right? I'm not talking about being weak. I'm talking about showing strength with humility, right? Knowing, because that's what power is all about, right? Power is that ability of knowing who you are, knowing that you have strength, but knowing how to use that strength, knowing when to use that strength, not just to be tough and be an alpha male and No, I think you should learn that being humble is a sign of strength. Being a gentleman is a sign of strength. Being chivalrous, right? Chivalry is not dead. Now, women may not appreciate it, and they're crazy feminists. I remember holding the door open for someone, and she gave me this look. I don't need you to do that. I'm like, no, I know you don't need me to do it, but I want to do it. It's not about you. It's about me. It's about how my mom raised me, the values that I was taught. So I want to hold the door for you. You may get offended because I hold the door for you, but that's okay. That's on you. That's how you choose to feel. I choose to hold the door open because that's how I want to be remembered. It's about me as a person, as a man, and that says more about me than it does about you. And I think people get offended by it. So don't be afraid, though. Don't be afraid to still hold the door open for someone. Open the door for your wife or your spouse or your girlfriend, whatever, and be chivalrous and be courageous in your relationships as well. So definitely something that I want to drive home, that you should be kind. You should be, we should be the most, how should I say, like the people that treat others with kindness, like more than anybody else, especially if you identify as a believer, as a Christian man. That's how Jesus was. That's how you should be too. Now, there's a time and a place when you need to stand up and you need to be tough, right? And you need to be a killer in a sense, right? But that's not most of the time. I would say 95% of the time, 99% of the time, you should be kind and caring, and you don't need to, involve yourself and get emotionally, out of control and things like that. And that brings me to the next point. I think this AlphaStrong Man should be stoic. If you don't know what stoicism is and what it means to be stoic, it just basically just means that you're not ruled by your emotions, right? That you're able to have self-control. This is one of the gifts of the Spirit, right? Self-control. The gifts of the Spirit, right? Gentleness, faithfulness, kindness, godliness, self-control, all these gifts, they're all part of what it means to be a Christian. And especially as a man, you should be practicing that. You should not be ruled by your emotions, right? Excuse my language. You should not be an emotional little bitch. Okay. You shouldn't be. You should be able to control yourself. Look, and I haven't always been that way. Okay. I definitely, growing up and getting my heart broken, all that stuff turned me into a little bit of a bitch, and it was a lot of emotional crazy damage that I was, that was caused to me as a child, which kind of made me that way. But as I matured and as I understood what does it mean to really be a man, right? Not having a father in my life, I had to figure this out on my own. But one thing I can definitely say is that being an emotional person that just doesn't have control over their emotions, whether that's how you love or how you hate or how you rage or whatever it is, it's not good for you. It is not becoming. Women do not want to be with an emotional wreck, with someone who fawns over them, like, and it obsesses and doesn't understand how to be calm, cool, and collected under pressure. So I think alpha strong man needs to be stoic. You can feel emotion, right? You can be sad, you can be angry, whatever, but it shouldn't rule your life. It shouldn't control you to the point where you're reacting a certain way. I always say that life is 95% what happens to you. No. 5% what happens to you and 95% how you react to it, right? How you choose to react says more about you than the other person. I often think about like, you know, on the internet, right? You get a lot of people that are trolls, right? They do something just to get a rise out of you. They say things to hurt you or to bait you into something. And you need to learn how not to engage. Don't engage with that person, right? You're not going to change their mind, especially if they're like, there's people that have talked smacked about me in some of my videos and said negative comments and things like that. I don't react to those people because they're just in there just trying to get a rise out of me. And if I engage, then I'm falling right into their trap. It's like they throw the hook out and here I am. And, it's like it makes you look weak. So learn to control your emotions, right? And again, you can feel sadness. You can feel emotion. It's okay. But you should do it with control. You should learn how to channel that anger, that sadness, that emotion, whatever, into the right things. Nowadays, when I get angry, man, I go work out. I go ride my bike. I get it out in other ways, because in the past I would just rage and I would punch walls and break things and whatever. But I don't do that anymore because I've learned that that's not the way I want to be. That does not make me a better man. I want to be the example, especially now. I have a teenage son. I have to be the example for him. And, and I have daughters. I have 2 teenage daughters and I have a 5-year-old. I have to be the example to them. I don't want them to go and gravitate to a man that can treat them like crap and not know how to control their emotions. Right. So I think it is, you can feel the emotion, but you shouldn't live there. You shouldn't dwell on those things. You should acknowledge that you feel a certain way and then move on, right? In a productive way, in the best way possible that you possibly can, right? So stoicism, and I stayed on that topic for a little bit because I think it's super important nowadays. You see what's going on in our society with like road rage and, men, beating women and stuff like that. And it's so easy to kind of just lose control. And if you can learn to practice that self-control, it will do wonders in your life. It will change you from the inside out. So, if you're a believer and you feel like that's something that you need to work on, pray about those things. Thank God that His Spirit lives in you and that is filling you with those things so that you can start to operate with those gifts of the Spirit as well. I do believe that even though, we should be stoic or whatever, I think it's very important that you understand that you can still be a masculine, strong male, and you don't have to, be afraid to show that you're a man's man. It's okay. You should be that way. And if you're dating or whatever, and you're always trying to be a little bit more weak on the weak side, and a little bit more feminine or whatever, trust me, it's not doing you any good. Okay. Yeah, you might get a girl to pay a little bit of attention. Oh, he's so sweet. He's in touch with his emotions and his feelings. But in the long term, women don't want that. Okay. In the long term, they want a strong man. And you can know how to deal with your emotions and how to have a good conversation with your wife and really share your heart and all those kinds of things. That's definitely important. You should do that. But for the most part, women want strong men, right? There's a reason why they say, girls go after the bad guys, right? After the bad boys, because they're not afraid to show their masculinity and to show that they're strong, whatever, right? And you need to be strong. In fact, you need to be physically fit You need to be physically strong as well. Okay. This is something that I'm focused on now. I haven't always had the best health. I've always been strong, but I've always, kind of been a heavy guy. So I'm working on those things now because I understand as I get older, it's going to be much harder for me to be a strong male if I'm just a fat slob laying around being lazy. We start to lose, our testosterone and those types of hormones and stuff. So you should be a strong, physically fit male. Why? Because you need to be able to take on the bad guys. What happens if a man or somebody tries to attack your family and you're weak, you're not strong, you have no stamina, right? You have no muscle. Like, dude, you can't even stand up to defend your own family? Are you kidding me? Listen to me, man. You need to be strong. You need to be physically fit. You need to be able to defend your family, okay? With your fists if you need to, with protection, pew pew, whatever it is. You should be a strong, fit male so that you can stand up and defend the weak. Okay. And I'm not saying your wife is weak or your kids are weak, but they might be weaker than the person that's trying to attack them, right? Or it may be some stranger, right? You need to be that. You need to be able to defend others, right? So this is very, very important. Jesus, when he was on this earth, tells his disciples when they're first going out while he's still alive, hey, go out and do some of the works, whatever. He says, hey, don't take no sword, don't take nothing, just just go off and do it. But then after he ascends, right, when he sends them out later, he says, hey, take a sword with you, be ready to defend yourself, be ready to defend the faith, by force if you need to. That's kind of what, to me, that's what it implies. I'm not saying go out there and battle everybody, I'm not saying go take your sword and start chopping heads off, because someone doesn't believe what you believe. I don't think that's what Jesus was saying, but it's more like, hey, be willing to defend yourself. You may have to fight. You may have to actually stand up and take on the evil of this world, the physical evil of other men and women, So don't be afraid to be a strong, masculine male and be physically fit, get your testosterone up, be dominant, be willing to be a force to be reckoned with. One of the things that I firmly believe is that we should be men who are hyper aware, always vigilant, always looking. I'm be honest. When I go to a restaurant, look, and I grew up in the hood, so we learn to be very, very vigilant. You're always watching your back. You just never know when someone is going to be coming up to you. Hey, where are you from, or whatever. And it's still out there. My office is in Santa Ana. It's kind of it's in a good part of the city, but it's out there. You see them, and there's gangsters out there and whatnot. But the idea is, though, you should be willing to stand up and fight and whatever, right? And stand up and be willing to take on the evil in this world, right? So I believe that if we can be these types of men, right, who are strong, who are stoic, who are emotionally under control, who are kind and caring, who are brave and courageous, who are purpose driven and intentional with the decisions that they're making in their life, you can help be the force of good and change that this world needs, that our country needs. America needs you. Your families need you. Your children need you. Your wife needs you. Other men need you. You should be an example. You should be the example to other younger men, to other people around you. Be that alpha strong man that this world needs. I do believe that you should also be a very, very good father. You should be there for your children. You should be attentive. You should be emotionally present. I didn't have a father growing up. He was always, in and out of jail or deported or whatever. I had other men in my life, my uncles and stuff who were around, but they weren't necessarily emotionally present. They may have been good men and took care of their families and were there, but they weren't really there. You know what I mean? So you should be emotionally present. You should not be afraid to tell your kids that you love them, to tell your sons that you love them, to give them hugs and to be willing to be vulnerable emotionally with your children, especially your sons. You should teach that. You should emulate that behavior so that they can see that it's okay. It's okay to show love and affection It's important. You need to do that. And I think we're seeing now in the breakdown of our society, um, that the lack of strong male authority figures in the home has caused a lot of problems, statistically speaking, right? I think they say like 80% of fatherless homes, right, produce children that are likely to have problems with the law, likely not to finish school, not to finish college. I mean, there's so many negative effects when there isn't a strong male authority figure in the home, right? And we left it to the women, these wonderful single mothers and everything, to do this work on their own. And unfortunately, it's now produced, a lot of the problems that we've had. And that's not to knock women. I'm not saying it's because your fault at all. You've done the best you could, but the men have left you hanging. Okay, men, you've left your women hanging. And look, I'm talking to you men out there. If you have a child with the woman somewhere and you guys are not together, and you are not consistently visiting with that kid, talking to them, engaged in their school activities, knowing what it is that they're about, who their friends are. If you're not visiting them, even if they live somewhere else, like call them, FaceTime them, be there emotionally, okay? Even if the woman is trying to take that child away from you or whatever, do whatever you can. Fight for them. Let them see that you were there, that you fought, that you tried. I have a cousin who just gave up, who just gave up his rights and just said, well, fine, whatever. And, and it caused a lot of problems. It caused a lot of problems. And sometimes I think we just give up because it's easier, right? We just, fine, I don't want to fight no more and whatever. But I think your children would appreciate if you put up a bigger fight and you fought for them and they see that, right? And not in a negative way, but just fight for the right to be there with them, to have that emotional connection with them. This is super important. I'm speaking from personal experience, so I hope that you're listening to this. Like I said before, you should be an example, right? You should be an example to other young men around you, your nephews, or your friends of your kids. Our home for is right now like the home that people come to. The kids come over, all their friends come over, and they hang out in the garage. And I've tried to do that. I've tried to like school them on certain things, right, and give them a little bit of counsel. I know some of these boys don't have a strong male figure in the home, and you know what? They're not my kids, but they're here. God has placed them in front of me, and I have now a platform to be able to talk to them. And so I try to give them good tips and, just be that example for them as well. So that would be my suggestion to you guys. Don't be afraid to be a mentor to a young child. If you see the neighbor kid down the street, maybe he's friends with your son or daughter, whatever, invite him over, like include him and stuff, because he just might need a strong male figure in his life, and you could be that person for them, right? It takes a village sometimes, you know what? And unfortunately, if their dad is not going to be around and not take on that responsibility, don't be afraid to give a little bit of yourself to help that child, maybe steer him in the right direction and teach him what it means to be a godly man. And I think it's really, really important to not be afraid. Don't be afraid to be a strong, masculine man. It's okay for you to be a strong, masculine man. Don't let these crazy leftist, woke feminists try to, let's face it, cut your balls off, okay? Like, don't let them do that to you. Don't be a eunuch, okay? Stand up, be strong, be firm. And you know what? Deal with whatever repercussions come. Listen, I know that I'm likely going to get canceled one day. I'm sure, if at the very least demonetized or whatever. But I'm sure I'm probably going to get banned from all these social media platforms or whatever. And you know what? I don't care, because I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to speak the truth in love. And I'm not afraid of their crazy ridiculousness. All that does is just prove that they are trying to shut us down, shut us up, because what we have is the truth. And our truth can change this country for the better. And they don't want that. You know why they don't want that? They don't want strong men, okay? Strong men that know how to think, that know how to be creative, that know how to be, masculine and stand up. Why? Because strong masculine men, okay, are the backbone of this country. We're the ones who get sent off to die in a ditch in some other country. We're the ones that are the labor force out there doing the backbreaking work, doing the jobs that most people don't want to do. Okay. Young, strong men, we are the spear of this country. And if they can keep us down, they can keep us, one, uneducated and dumb, stuck to our phones, watching TikTok videos just over and over. I mean, it is just dumbing us down, right? If they can keep us from organizing ourselves and understanding our position and roles of authority, as being a strong male figure, if they can keep us separate, then they can control us. Because think about it. When revolutions happen, who are the people that are leading the charge? It's the strong masculine men that are leading the charge. And you know what? That's what they're trying to do. This whole January 6th thing and everything that's going on, just trying to demonize us every way, shape, or form. If you are a Christian, if you believe in democracy, if you believe in freedom, they're going to try to shut us down and keep us from binding together and raising, an army of strong, willful men who are not afraid to stand up for truth and stand up for righteousness. That's what they want. That is part of their agenda, right? If they can keep us divided, keep us separated, then we cannot rise up together. Think about that. The elites, the people in power, the media, all of these people, the matrix, as Andrew Tate says, right? They're all out to keep us down, to destroy us, right? To make us feel weak because we have certain opinions or ideas or thoughts. But you know what? What we're speaking is truth. And the truth is powerful because the truth will set you free. So if you're a strong alpha man, okay, an alpha strong man, then you need to be speaking the truth. You need to be surrounding yourself with more truth. You should be watching videos like this and finding people who are talking like this and who are empowering you with more knowledge, more information, so that you can go out and do the same thing and go be a disciple maker and raise other godly men to think like that and to speak for the truth and to not be afraid to stand up to this crazy leftist feminism, this wokeness that is not making you woke, it's making you asleep. What you need to do is be awake, okay? You need to wake up. You need to wake the heck up because it's time. It has been time, and we've been just letting these people with the loudest voices in the room just dictate policy and dictate what we can and cannot say. But you know what? I'm not keeping quiet anymore. That's what this channel is all about. That's what AlphaStrong is all about. And that's what we're going to continue to be teaching and preaching and making sure that you men and women understand these things. And we're going to be talking about what does it mean to be an alpha strong woman as well. I'm going to bring a strong female, voice to come in here and help school you guys and you ladies, and make sure that you ladies understand your role and your authority, and to make sure that you understand that, you can be a strong woman. And it doesn't take anything away from me being a strong man. And I can be a strong man. It doesn't take anything away from you being a strong woman. Together, we can be stronger. Okay? We should be unified in that case. We should be making sure that we're building each other up, because that's how we're going to be able to change our country, change our society, and change our families, and change this world for Jesus. Right? So, I know it's a lot. I probably said some things that pissed you off. I'm happy that it pissed you off. Hopefully it got you thinking. Hopefully it made you realize that you need to be standing up, that you need to be thinking about what kind of man you want to be, what kind of woman you want to be. Women, you need to be thinking about what kind of men do you want around you? What kind of men do you want to raise your children and help you in raising your family and leading, your home. So with that, if you have any comments, you don't agree with what I say, drop something down below. I want to hear. I want to know. I mean, and do it in a constructive way. Don't just criticize me, whatever. Make your point, right? If whatever I might have said that you don't agree with, great. Let's have a good, healthy discussion. And who knows? Maybe I might, bring you on, and maybe we'll be able to talk something. If you have something really, really, different to say that I think is worthy of a discussion, who knows? Maybe we'll bring you on. But go ahead and smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel, the AlphaStrong Network, or you can find some of my other channels, Angel Abundance 257 or Firelight Financial, for if you want finance stuff or crypto stuff. But make sure to smash that bell. And with that, God bless you guys. I hope you're doing amazing out there. Keep being strong. Remember, thrive in the vibe, everybody. Take care. Peace out.